Hello there. For some obscure reason, it looks like there's an increasing appetite across the planet to take legal action against governments and corporate big pharma. While our press, including now Spiked Online, bark at free-thinking people for having an independent view on staying-at-home orders and rolling our sleeves up, those who believe they have suffered an adverse reaction or lost friends and relatives to it are starting to investigate the use of the courts to get compensation and recognition. For example, here's a couple of new ones. Sky News reports that 500 Australians have joined a class action lawsuit seeking compensation for alleged injuries caused. While the Indian Bar Association is charging its WHO chief scientist, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, with causing the untimely demise of many Indians. But as the WHO is always correct and above reproach, then I do wonder how far this one will get. But it's all because she discouraged the use of a certain well-established and easily available medicine to help with the health emergency, despite those bringing the action claiming that the data indicated otherwise, or so they claim. Wonder how many experts and politicians across the world are having a squeaky bum moment right now. And how long before the freethinkers are proven correct. So the finances of the SNP get murkier and murkier, despite claims from the party hierarchy that they are being transparent. This saga over the finances of the Scottish National Party just gets spicier by the day, doesn't it? We now have reports that Police Scotland is looking into where a considerable amount of money bequeathed to the party went. And according to the Sunday Mail, something like £1 million in cash gifts has been donated to the SNP since 2021. And the police have still not, it appears, determined where about 400 grand of the famously missing but woven into the accounts 600 grand went. And there are specialist fraud investigating police officers trying to unravel all of this. But why? Surely the SNP is assisting fully across the board and is being totally forthright and transparent. And surely the accounts show all income and that it came from proper sources, and all expenditure is covered by receipts and lists of assets, like luxury motorhomes, battle buses and the like. And while the SNP accounts look all fouled up, we hear that an Orkney ferry has run aground. Thankfully, all of its passengers were safely taken off. But this ferry had only just returned to service to plug gaps in the schedule. And now ferry sailings are having to be cancelled. And the big problem is that there are now too few ferries to service the Scottish Islands properly. All because the SNP government has a terrible record of procuring new ferries. Well, ones that work anyway. Is there anything that the SNP can do? Other than posturing, that is. Now, in the sunny uplands of the European Union, where everything is always sweetness and light, we see the French police joining in the May Day Workers' Day celebrations by deploying tear gas into the crowds and then being forced into a frantic retreat by the mob. And all after the French unions called for a popular tidal wave of street protests over Macron unceremoniously raising the pension ages, with many workers being angry with Macron because they view him as against them and for big business. I wonder if we'll see the Macrons fronting up at an English beach in a dinghy soon, asking to be let in for their protection. So Liz Truss is back in the news, but not for a good reason. She's been hit with a 12,000 quid bill for parties at the Grace and Favour Chevening House, which she inhabited while she was Foreign Secretary. The report also says that items like bathrobes and slippers were also missing from the inventory. According to one source talking to the Mail, she used the place like a mini number 10, holding meetings that somehow morphed into parties. And officials are now asking her to cough up the costs, although she claims that much of it was proper official government business and has asked for a more accurate breakdown. Now, the reality here is that someone probably saw an opportunity and leaked this to the press for political or financial reasons, therefore a breach of trust. Ah well, Slippergate is here. Richard.
So, the coronation that nobody cares about, for Britain's most inbred monarch since, well, a very long time ago. Anyway, his coronation is on the horizon, with the media ratcheting up propaganda. So get your flags ready, people, to wave for the man whose ex-late wife worried that she would be taken out in a car crash by her husband's family, only to be taken out in a car crash. Yes, the late Bishop Peter Ball and Jimmy Savile's old acquaintance will be adored by the sheeple, as is good and right, of course. And don't worry about his affiliations with the World Economic Forum. No. Global centralism, it's just a little bit of a hobby of his. Yes. Oh, and speaking of which, I have a wonderful conspiracy theory for you lot, and it will make you laugh. Yes, this ludicrous conspiracy theory has been doing the rounds for quite a while, and the theory in question is King Charles is mentioned in the Book of Revelation. You know, the baddie, the anti, in the Bible. Yes, I laughed too. I mean, really? Come on. Well, actually, I watched a few videos on this subject, and they were quite compelling and appealed to my whimsical conspiracy side, but I laughed it off as just the musings of madmen living in their mother's basements, because unlike King Charles, the real anti and bad boy in the Book of Revelation would request an oath of allegiance. And King Charles would never ask for an oath of allegiance. Jeff?
So to little fanfare, another big US bank hits the buffers. And according to the FT, the crashing of First Republic is the second largest bank failure in US history. The biggest bank wipeout in US history was the collapse of Washington Mutual in 2008. And this latest one comes on the heels of Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank going under. And as ever with these things, a deal was cobbled together quickly over the weekend, or so we're told, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and California regulators closed First Republic and sold its deposits of over $90 billion and most of the assets to JP Morgan. Now, when these deals magically appear over the weekend, I always wonder if it had in fact already been thrashed out over the previous weeks behind closed doors. After all, you'd have to be pretty damn confident when laying out billions to take on a failed asset. Bear in mind, JP Morgan also had to pay the FDIC $10.6 billion as a part of this deal. Looks like the big banks are going to keep getting bigger. And that $90 billion of assets presumably is what's left after the $100 billion that was reportedly withdrawn by customers in the recent past. And as part of the whole deal, the First Republic shareholders lost everything, but depositors were saved. Now, Signature Bank is now the fourth largest US banking failure, Silicon Valley is the third largest, and First Republic is the second largest. Is there a pattern developing here? And I'll leave the final word to the all-seeing eye.
Well, you lot get to spend an extra day in bed, because it's a bank holiday. Yes, a day when we get to remember and reflect upon the meaning of the word banks. So pour yourself a drink, and relax with your favourite stiff one, and don't let anything get in between you and your personal space away from the great unwashed. So, what did you think about what was said in the video today? And splash your pearls of wisdom all over Jeff and myself in the comment section. And we will see you again tomorrow at 5:45, 5:45, 5:45.